It's the Absurd American Nerdcast with your hosts, Freddie and Mr. S. Let's talk some Star Wars, man. I really think that we should talk some Star Wars, because Andor is becoming more and more a phenomenal show.
Yeah.
So we're up to episode 8 now, I believe. And we got through the heist. Everything was great. The rebels now have funding. But now we're kind of seeing the intricate part of what happens after. So it wasn't just like a, yay, we did it. So we have the senators that are plotting and scheming. And what happens now, because security is at high alert. Well, how do we move all this money that we just got? We see Cassian. Cassian's now arrested in the latest episode. But if we back up to episode 7, some cool stuff did happen because heist is over. We need to figure out what's going to happen next. So now we're setting up what the Empire's doing, what the rebels are doing. So it's been really cool to watch, and it's really, in my opinion, one of the best Star Wars things that's happening right now, because this is the beginning. You're literally watching the rebels become a thing.
Yeah.
So, timeline-wise, you get Ezra Bridger that's stealing Melu runs right now for the cause. At the same time that all this stuff is happening with Cassian.
And this is the same timeline as Rebels at the moment,
Yeah.
right? Or is it before Rebels?
If it's just before, it's just before, but these timelines are very close, because obviously they work for the rebellion and building. I thought Rebels did a good job of kind of like where the rebels started and where they ended up.
Yeah.
And this is doing a really good job of how did the rebels become to be.
And you were telling me that, like, in recent episode, the one that just aired, that Saul Guerrero shows up, correct?
Yes, I was gonna get there. I was in episode 7. Let's back up just a little bit because there's some cool things that are there, and then we'll move on to episode 8. Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
So in episode 7, it's worth definitely pointing out that Wolf Yurlin is, I believe I'm saying that right. Wolf Yurlin.
Yeah.
Yurlin. If you guys don't know, OG Star Wars character, was on the Death Star in Empire Strikes Back with Vader.
A New Hope.
Oh, A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Keep me correct. So he was in the original scene with Darth Vader before he does the choking and everything. He was just chilling there, and this character has really kind of been around and growing with us. He was in Clone Wars as a high colonel. He's also the voice that announces everything that happens before. And then we saw him kind of grow there, and then he was in Rebels because he's actually really close acquaintances with Thrawn, which is why I'm really mentioning it, is because this is a like really close guy to Thrawn and all the stuff that Thrawn did. He is now retired and is a colonel in the ISB, which is where he kind of was standing in Rebels. So now I'm kind of looking at this as they're hinting at Thrawn, and maybe there'll be some crosses here. With the Asohka series and everything coming out, maybe Andor Season 2 might have some Thrawn in it as well.
So Thrawn comes a little later.
Okay.
Thrawn, I think it's established in the comic, but the Empire obviously the Empire has been established, but I think at this point, that he's training at the academy.
Okay.
Because he has like a partner with him, and I forget the guy's name, but he has like a weird Southern accent that so.
Gotcha.
I think he's at the academy in this timeline, and then Thrawn becomes a Grand Admiral, like a little bit later on. I think if I'm Right. This is when Thrawn's at the academy.
I mean, he moves up ranks really quickly too.
Yeah, and he becomes like, besides Tarkin, he becomes like the Emperor's like grand strategist, I think, because like he works very close with Tarkin, Vader. He doesn't like Vader, but he also figured out Vader's identity in a book. I think in Thrawn Alliances, he's like, "Yo, what up, Anakin?" And then Vader's like, "Excuse me?"
Right? Like,
I
murder people that have that information.
But I'm ready. I know we're gonna see Thrawn in Ahsoka, and I'm excited to see Ezra Bridger come back and reprise his role.
I'm super stoked and ready for that.
Not reprise his role, but like see in live action.
Right.
So
just really cool stuff that's coming on with Star Wars, but I thought it was at least worth mentioning that character is there because he's a very important stature with the Empire.
mm-hmm.
Another cool thing that happened in Episode 7 was they kind of took the Kazian comic of where he met K2SO, and they made it live action, pretty much shot for shot. Now it wasn't K2SO, but the scene where he's on the beach and he's like walking on the beach and he gets arrested, where the droid like picks him up and chokes him, is pretty much shot for shot for what happens in the comics in K2SO and his meeting. Now, whether or not they take that and do an actual shot for shot from the comics of the meeting, who knows? But it was just really kind of cool to see from like a nerd standpoint, because that's what we do. We're talking nerdy, you know? Like something from the comics, just like all the other stuff that DC, Marvel, and everything. We're taking stuff from the comics, putting it into live action so that the people who know, they know. And it's just really like it was really cool to see. So that's just English words. It is too early for me to be talking.
Yeah, we decided to get up early and record since we have things to do later. So you're getting morning conversations with us in our hair.
Sponsored by coffee. Coffee. It makes you wake up in the morning.
Good old cup of Joe, eh?
Yeah, good old cup of Joe, eh? So it's moving on from episode 7 and all that kind of cool stuff. Episode 8 was very interesting. Kazian's now in prison, and what an interesting prison it is, with no weapons and everything's electrified. Where if you sleepwalk, you die. That's where we are with the Empire. We don't like sleepwalkers. But seeing how the prison works, they're kind of already hinting at a prison escape. We see people using a type of sign language talking to different areas throughout the entire complex, which I thought was really cool. How'd you know that somebody else spoke that language? How'd you find them? And even more so, what are you communicating? Because there's no subtitles for it. With that being said, when he's actually working and doing all of his mechanics and everything, you actually see Melshi on the production line working right next to him. Melshi is actually a character from Rogue One, where he helps free Kenner. God, I'm telling you, warning, brain freeze. Melshi helps free Jyn Erso, and he also is on the ground crew that goes to Scarif. So another little tie-in, making it very accurate for us as fans. That's going to go right into the movie. Again, excellent job with everything that's going on. I think that the writing's a little slow, but I also appreciate that they're taking the time so that we get the fine details of what is going on and what's happening, and they're really letting us get those smaller conversations and sideline chats that are really setting up everything else that happens later on. So, as far as Andor goes, great show. Highly would suggest watching. Once the season's complete, I know that there's going to be a second season. But for those people that like to do Star Wars marathons and watch everything all the way through in timeline order, this is going to be where a lot of people are going to start from now on, and it's exciting. I just like this bunch. So, Freddie, you take it away. Your thoughts and everything on Andor so far.
I like it so far. I'm still in the beginning right now, but I am enjoying all the character. I like lore build up, and I like getting the scene build up, and they do a perfect job on both. I love character development, which we see Cassian in the beginning, kind of starting out. We see a little bit of his childhood. We
Right.
kind of go from there. And again, I'm in the first couple episodes still, because I'm kind of waiting for all that to drop so I can just marathon it through. I I like all of it. The cinematography, the score, it's the most Star Wars thing we have so far. Besides, Tales of the Jedi, which just dropped.
They definitely throw back to that classic cinematography feel, which is great. So you're getting a lot of new edge like technology stuff, but they're keeping the old style. Where as much that they can build and make like practical sets, they do.
Like, I feel like Lucasfilm should take that I mean, they are, because here's the thing. I think they should continue with that. Use the original trilogy as like, this is how you set up a scene, because this is what Star Wars is. Not what you think Star Wars is, but what Star Wars truly is.
Right.
Because like, what was it? I'll use an example. Disney Star Cruiser Hotel,
right,
is what you think Star Wars is. It looks more 2001 Space Odyssey and Star Trek more than Star Wars. You can have a Twi'lek on board, but then I just feel I'm at a cosplay convention. What Star Wars truly is what you see in Andor, Rogue One, and in Solo. And I know a lot of people don't like Solo, but that was a great movie. Like, that was like reading The Young Adventures of Han Solo. If you guys haven't read that, please understand this is what the character is,
Yeah, it was a true Han Solo film for Han Solo fans. If you were a true Han Solo fan, you loved the movie. If you weren't really a true like big Han Solo fan, which is great, that's fine, you probably didn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah, I mean, it had the right amount of character development, the right amount of like, I mean, it's not Legends anymore, and obviously this is all different,
Right.
But I'm glad what we got, and I'm glad that we got what we had gotten from Ron Howard. But that's the template which you should be following. What I'm trying to get at. But you were talking about not too long ago with guest appearances and from other movies. I mean, obviously the Mon Mothma from Revenge of the Sith deleted scene,
right?
And she was in Revenge of the Sith. Then she was in Rogue One, and now she's in the Andor show. Which, there you go, including Forrest Whitaker. You have Melshi in this now.
That cutscene in particular is like literally the birth of the rebellion. Yeah. Everyone that's in that private meeting is literally creating the rebels. So, one, that scene is so important. We should have had it canon in the movie anyway. But taking two of those senators and literally putting them into Andor, seeing what happens.
So, Jimmy Smits was in Rogue One. He was in Revenge of the Sith. He was in the prequel trilogy as Bail Organa. Because we had never really seen Bail Organa in the original movies because Alderaan blew up. And I'm just glad that we got that. We have that character. And he loves playing that character from what I've read, from him talking in interviews and stuff like that. He always wants to play as much as that character as he can. And, with Kenobi, him showing up in, which was really cool. And, I'm excited to see what else he shows up in. But I like the direction and where we're going right now. And I'm excited to see what happens from Star Wars right now, because I know the sequel trilogy was kind of, in my take, garbage. Um,
I mean, yeah,
like Force Awakens was great. Like
that was
that
it.
was a great starting point, and
And
then
then,
you just went fucking
yeah,
nosedive right into the ground with Last Jedi.
yeah, it was just like great start. No,
Yeah,
no,
but you also mentioned the droid that picked up Andor,
yeah,
Captain Andor, in on the beach. Apparently, that was from the comics.
yeah.
I never
That's what
read
I was
the
saying.
Andor comic or anything like that. So, you want to talk a little bit more about that?
I mean, everything that I've already said before is still adequate. It was right with it, like frame by frame. So it was again, it was just cool to see that on the screen, and for those of us that caught it, it was kind of just really cool to see that little tidbit and nod to the super nerds out there. That hey, we have this comic book that we're paying attention. You know what I mean? If anything, it tells us that we're paying attention to the details and we're trying to do the best job that we can for you guys. So that was really cool.
Um,
What I do know is that you said there was some hidden gems in the store that you wanted to mention, um, in the antique store, from like Jedi replicas and Padme's hairdress, and you said that
so
you had used.
yeah, oh my god, yeah. This I saw on what was it? Because Twitter, everybody leaks everything.
Right, of course, Twitty
I
leaks.
could, it could be the day before, and an episode gets leaked. You know,
Right.
I saw Padme Amidala's in this recent episode that came out in a still that it was her headdress from episode 2 when she arrives to Naboo with Anakin off the that transport ship. Because they had to disguise themselves as locals so she didn't get assassinated. Um, we have Starkiller's armor from the Force Unleashed video game. We have Plo Koon's mask. We have a Jedi Temple Guard mask. There is just so many things
There's
in
so
that
many
antique
things
store that
that
I
can.
want to just go.
So many
And
things in that antique store that scream,
oh,
"I'm a rebel."
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, besides the Sith armor in the background,
Right.
hey, I'm a rebel.
But
I'm
most
a
of that stuff, it's
collector.
like, how'd you get Padme's headdress? That was probably something that Senator Organa got and brought in during a meeting for him.
Why would he carry that though? Like, I'm just like, how do you get that?
I mean, Organa and Padme were close friends. Why would
No,
he
I
take
mean,
the
like,
headdress? I don't know, but it make
that's
that'd be the only person that I know that could really be linked to getting him that.
yeah. I mean, I can see that, but again, just to bring that is kind of weird,
Yeah.
because he's like the stepdaddy of Leia. So I don't know, but it's very interesting to
Well, I mean,
see
at this point in
what
time, Padme's not alive
appears.
anyway, so it's just maybe he got it when he went to the funeral. I don't know. I don't know how he got it or anything and how it ended up in that store. That's just my theory of how it showed up because that's the only connection I can really think of for that.
Imagine if someone goes, "We need a roadmap to all those items in that store. Where they come from? Disney, tell me now."
Oh, there's someone somewhere that's like
Has like
got
a
the yarn
sign me
string.
page.
He's got this yarn string corkboard, trying to figure out who's linked with what and how he got all the items.
It's like that image of Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny, just like smoking a cigarette, but just going like, "You see what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about?"
Like, how did they end up with the Jedi Temple Guard mask? Well, you see on my board back here that if you and that is how it ends up in the storefront. But that's not the crazy part. The crazy part is that it gets sold to like. There's somebody out there that's going crazy. Good for you. If you're one of those people, comment below because I want to hear where everything came from.
Yeah. Oh my God, we would love to hear everyone's theories or made up stories about where these items came from. Pick an item and then write a short story.
Don't know, get me a list and
Oh my God.
write me a story.
What if it
And
was an auction and someone goes, yeah, they bought this in bulk from an auction? I'm like, what?
and the best one that Freddie and I find, we will read on this channel.
Oh my god, yeah.
I
The
want to
best
know,
one.
you guys. This is you guys. Everyone listening, comment and let me know all the listed items that are in the antique shop. Where'd they come from? Where'd they go? Where'd they come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Let me know.
Smooth.
I
Smooth with that
right?
one.
Perfect. Moving on from Star Wars then, I think it's only fitting that we move into the other big name with Disney. Oh, wait, we didn't really talk about Tales of the Jedi. So,
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we are
before we
going
tie
to
out
be
Star
doing
Wars,
reaction videos to those and first-time viewing for, me and Steven. I did check it out a little bit just to kind of see, like, how... I mean, obviously, I like to know how it's being written. So I checked out, like, the first episode, and I wrote some stuff down, but I didn't really, like... I mean, I'm just writing talking points down at this point. I'm not really focusing on the video. I'm just listening. So...
it seems like these are going to be good fill-in points for things that we need to know but haven't been told.
Yeah. I mean, Tales of the Jedi is an old comic book from, I think, the 90s, where obviously it kind of focused from the Old Republic, and we also got Tales of the Sith. We have, all those books from Legends, y'all should check out. Either on, Marvel, I think they have, like, the omnibus version for, like, your, one of those, like, e-reader things. What are they called? What is that thing called? Like an ebook, a notebook?
What, like a Kindle?
Yeah, that. I am showing my age. Here you go.
Remember when Amazon was a bookstore?
Hey, whippersnapper,
And
what are the
they
kids
came
reading?
out with this cool thing that's called the Amazon Kindle, where you could read unlimited books on a tablet.
So many books!
And then this was before tablets were like multifunctional touchscreens and everything. This was look like a page of a book with like the text right behind it, and it was a tablet and you could read books as if it was like a book, and it had anti-glare screen. It was this huge ordeal. What a step that we've taken from Amazon being a bookstore, a online e-reading, to everything.
It's the year 2022. A lot of people back then in the 50s or maybe the 60s thought we might have flying cars. But we have an anti-glare reading device.
Right.
Welcome to the future.
Oh man.
Okay, so yeah, you can check those out on like Kindle or whatever reading device that you choose, maybe on a computer. Maybe just go to a bookstore. Bookstores are great. Libraries are even better.
Skip the tablet completely and just buy a book.
Get a library card. You can have the most fun with the library card, Thanks, Arthur. But yeah, so these are like one-shot stories, but they're like continuous stories from what I understand. I know from the trailer that we see young Dooku, young Qui-Gon Jinn, Asohka coming into how she was brought into the Jedi Order, so we could see her life, but what's the death? We had Victory in Death as a title for the Clone Wars, as like, the ending of that series.
Right.
But we're seeing life happen, so are we getting in the Ahsoka series, or we're going to see her death? Because it's probably going to be a little bit after or during the original trilogy. Because, like, if there's another Force user, if there are two more Force users, and she knows Luke is a thing by the end of Return, does this mean that we're going to see her later in her life when Ezra dies, or she probably does pass on through the Force, because she's not shown in the sequels? So, like, at this point, I'm kind of wondering what happens to Ahsoka, since we're seeing her whole life through books, through comics, through TV, maybe movie. We just have to wait and see, because I'm excited to see it,
I'm excited. That series is going to be awesome, and it's still up in the air where it's going to be and where it's going kind of thing. So perfect. This has been the Absurd American Nerdcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on the bell for notification.